What's up guys, Dan here and welcome to another episode of Capmode Cheat Codes. It's episode 12 and we talk about game week 367. Sorry for the delay of this upload. I was away the whole day yesterday and couldn't finish my watch list because most of the information from the press conference weren't out yet. But now we're here with the full watch list. And first of all, I'm gonna show you 3 players that did absolutely mental from last week's watch list. First of all was Mats Hummels, L15 of 43, and he outscored this by 57 points. Scored 100 points, scored a goal, and got the clean sheet bonus against Frankfurt. The second one is Diogo Jota from Liverpool, outscored his L15 of 37 by 33 points, scoring 70 and 2 goals against Nottingham Forest at home. And the third one was Mateusz Cunha. I don't know why, but I had a good feeling of him scoring against Leicester. He did, but the Wolves lost their game. 2-1 to Leicester, but Cunha got the decisive, got 66 points and outscored his L15 by 27. Now we're gonna get into the picks of game week 367, and I've got, as always, 2 goalkeepers, 2 defenders, 2 midfielders, and 2 strikers for you, as well as the whole watch list at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. As the first Capmode cheat code in goal, we have Gibran Layut from Santos Laguna in Mexico. He has an L15 of 0, so should outscore this by quite a margin. He profits from the injury of Acevedo and should be just for 1 or 2 weeks. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Santos Laguna is playing for the playoffs against Cruz Azul. And if they lose their game against Cruz Azul, they won't participate in the playoffs, and their season stops just until the Leagues Cup between the Mexican and the US American teams in July. Already got a decent rise, but below 10 euros. He could fit your team if you want to play a really good Cap 220 team with 4 really high L15 players. He could fit in, but it's just for 1 game week and you don't know if Santos Laguna will make the playoffs, so it's pretty risky. Next one on the list is somebody who makes his watchlist hat-trick. It's Tomasz Kubek from Augsburg. Gikiewicz still not in full training and with shoulder pain, so Kubek should start this week as well. Away against Frankfurt, not an easy game for Augsburg, but Frankfurt was struggling the last game, so I could imagine Kubek will outscore his L15 of 31. Both of his last starting games weren't perfect, but a starting keeper for around about 5 euros is really rare to see, so Kubek could be a good shout, especially for those who want to pick him in the Cap 220 mode or the Bundesliga amateur mode, as is common. Coming to the 2 defenders, we got one from the Bundesliga and one from La Liga. Starting off with the one from La Liga, it's Gonzalo Montiel from FC Sevilla. Jesus Navas was subbed off injured this midweek, so Gonzalo Montiel stepped in, got 24 points in 34 minutes. Not the greatest scorer, but an L15 of 28 is really low, so you can put him in and expect, if he starts, plus 10 points at least, I think, against Girona at home. It's a good matchup. Sevilla need to win one of their games right now because afterwards they're playing Europa League again and they want to get right into the rhythm, and with his price being so low, you can get him for under 2 euros at the moment. Next up, we got Nusaid Masraoui from FC Bayern München, and he steps in because Alphonso Davies is injured. Last weekend, he played 81 minutes as a sub and scored 56 points, despite losing 3-1 to Mainz. I'll expect Bayern to dominate the game against Hertha because Hertha is sitting in the last place, and Masraoui could get some nice all-round scores. 31 against Mainz in 81 minutes. Usually Bayern playing at home, they're a far better team than away, and I think really good pickup for the next upcoming weeks. If you look at the next games, it's Bremen, Schalke, both teams that came from the 2nd Bundesliga last season. Normally games Bayern would win. In one of the 2 midfield spots, we got someone I recommended to my Twitter followers for this midweek. It was Axel Witsel, and he easily outscored his L15 this midweek. L15 is sitting at 37 at the moment, and his last game was 54 points against Mallorca. Nice matchup away to Valladolid. And Vincent should start as one of the center backs for Atletico again. For me, a great pickup, and he only costs €2.50. My second midfielder pick is Mats Ritz from Belgian league side Club Brugge. Since some weeks, Brugge is back to old performances, and you're able to see that regarding Mats Ritz scores L15 of 44, L5 of 59. Good indicator that his last games were quite good, and he can easily outscore his L15. And now we're looking at his last games. Obviously, Brugge won't win 7-0 again, but also the 54 and the 70 are really, really good scores, and I think Mats Ritz has the chance to be a Capmode cheat code because his price is €3. Obviously not a great matchup away against Genk, but I think Ritz will do quite good. Coming to the two forward spots, and the first one is Alassane Plea from Borussia Mönchengladbach. Marcus Thuram will miss the next game from Gladbach against Stuttgart because of injuries, so Plea should step in and get the start. And Stuttgart is still fighting relegation. They conceded 3 goals last home game against Borussia Dortmund. The price has already risen a bit to 0.004 ETH. Should be around €7. For me, that's still a really, really good price for a striker who was amongst the best in the Bundesliga starting this season. His scores came down quite a bit, but I think he's always able to go back to these old scores from the beginning of the season. And my last pick for this game week is João Pedro from Fenerbahce. Scored 3 goals in his last 2 games, playing just 3 of those 4 halves. Scored 2 against Istanbul Başakşehir and scored 1 against Istanbulspor. Really, really big game for Fenerbahce against Sivasspor because Galatasaray, who are sitting first in the Super League, are playing against Beşiktaş. And if Galatasaray loses points, it could be the last chance for Fenerbahce to be able to compete with Gala for the title. João Pedro is in form right now, and he's under €5. For me, it's a good pickup, and be aware he has some midfielder cards, so just go and buy his forward cards if you need him. And now that my 8 picks are done and dusted, we are gonna get into the full watch list. And this week's watch list is pretty damn full. 37 players sitting in the watch list. 8 of them you already know, and all of the others I'm not gonna talk much about. We got the likes of Gabriele Corbo again here, Alan Pulido, who is due a goal in the MLS. Taxis Fontas scored a goal last week, so maybe he can live up to his potential and score again against Charlotte at home. Campagna is back, and Inter Miami desperately need goals and wins. They're struggling at the moment. Richard Ledesma could be a good pickup. U23 is on loan from PSV. Vrioni came in nicely the last 2 game weeks with Walter Boo and Bobby Wood being out. Could imagine he starts again because he scored. Then the center back duo of Fenerbahce, Aziz and Luan Perez. Bit risky. Tejes with Gonzalo Montiel. Obviously good shouts. Vincent we talked about. Garcia is the one who is pretty damn cheap. If you have 39 cap space left, he could be your guy. Then we got Wilson Manafa, Rafa again, Duvan Zapata for Bergamo, Lozano. Nikola Kotza should start for Wolfsburg at left back position, so should outscore his L15 of 8 by starting. Masraoui we talked about, player we talked about. We got Junior Dina Mbimbe, who should start for Frankfurt and get a +10. Ozan Kabak against Leipzig. But for me, it's again Mohamed Simakan, who is really interesting, 31 L15 and playing Hoffenheim at home. Thank you guys for watching this series and supporting this series. Next episode will be on Thursday again. Sorry for not being able to bring this episode to you guys earlier, but I hope you still got a look at some nice Capmode cheat codes for the upcoming game week. So good luck for that, and we'll see us next time. Bye.